Welcome everyone to the EOS Fireside Chat for May 3rd, 2023. We got a good show for you lined up. A couple of solid topics, a couple of heavy hitter guests for you guys. We're talking Conensus 2023 recap from last week. EOS EVM is now open sourced and other EVM updates. We've got Bart Wyatt, CTO of the ENF, joining us today. He's going to be also talking with Brendan about their recent article where Bart Wyatt was featured on the Architects of Consensus series. Lots to dig into in that article for sure. ZEOS has some updates and developments recently. We will mention Cointelegraph magazine had a nice feature about the EOS's grassroots comeback. The ENF published their quarterly report. We, of course, got the community open mic and off-topic banter segments as well. But before we get into all of that, I want to point out that EOS is quickly approaching its 5th birthday. And I want to point out that in that time, the EOS network has been running without any downtime since June 2018. That's 1,782 days without any network downtime. That's pretty incredible. Not many highly performant blockchain networks can claim such a streak. In fact, depending on how you define highly performant, I'm pretty sure EOS is the only such network that will be able to make the claim that it's been running without any downtime for 5 years. That's coming up in just a few weeks. So as we approach our 5-year anniversary, let me take you for a quick stroll down memory lane and remember some of the key moments in the history of the EOS community. There have been a lot of them. Quick disclaimer, the following story is my perception of the history of EOS based on my own experiences. Your opinion about these events may be different from mine, and I'd love to hear from all of the community, EOS community members, on what your favorite moments were over the last 5 years. So the Genesis block happened in June 2018, and just a short 2 months later, the community was drawn together for the first EOS community conference in Seoul, Korea. A few months after that, consensus was reached within the network, and the EOS user agreement was signed into effect by the leading block producers. On-chain, the community bonded by passing around the blockchain torch. Off-chain, our top blockchain scholars were meeting up all around the world for a series of great hackathons. And then suddenly Rex joined the party. This resource exchange protocol unlocked nearly uncontrollable scalability on the network and brought about unanticipated consequences that eventually had to be dealt with. By October 2019, the community held its second EOS community conference, this time on the other side of the world in Rio, Brazil. This spark reignited collaboration within the community and strengthened bonds within the EOS ecosystem. Shortly after, the node operators of the EOS network would encounter a situation that would test the resiliency, the redundancy, and the capacity of the network. How strong is the EOS network really? Would it be able to withstand the onslaught of an army of CPU miners? The epic on-chain battle for CPU lasted for months. It was a grueling battle that tested many parts of the EOS ecosystem all at once. The core devs worked on specific blockchain protocol features that could help mitigate the attack. The EOS node operators worked tirelessly to strengthen, optimize, and reorganize the structure of their nodes to be able to withstand such an outrageous number of transactions every day. Eventually, the network emerged victorious against the onslaught of CPU miners. Now able to process over 100 million transactions per day, the EOS network welcomed the CPU miners to have fun in our blocks if they wanted to. Eventually, the Ponzinomics incentives powering the CPU miners fizzled out, and the once loud CPU miners left quietly into the night. The EOS network, now the most powerful, robust, and reliable blockchain network in existence, was ready for mass adoption. But another challenge was on the horizon, and this time, it would not be technical in nature. It would be emotional. It would be political. And it would lead many in the EOS community to accept an unfortunate truth. For 2 years, the community waited in vain for Block 1 to fulfill their promises of meaningfully investing into the EOS community. Due to being gaslighted, community initiatives were paused or sometimes never even attempted. EOS ecosystem builders were given false hopes of funding, strung along, and then ghosted. These were the dark ages of EOS. Eventually, though, the community got tired of waiting. Enough was enough. After a nearly 2-year-long quiet period, the EOS community was hungry and ready for something new. Emerging from this deep and widespread desire for change, leadership, and action, the EOS Network Foundation was born. Since that time, we've seen a flurry of activity, including financing critical research, implementing a wide range of funding opportunities for ecosystem builders of all kinds, and hiring the best devs in the space to ensure that our blockchain protocol remains highly performant and always on the cutting edge of technology. Some of the initiatives and events that have happened over the last year and a half or so since the ENF was launched includes the Pomelo crowdfunding platform, recently finishing its 5th season. Yield Plus program launched, incentivizing DeFi protocols to launch on EOS native and potentially soon on EOS EVM as well. Recover Plus launched as well, enabling better collaboration between block producers and DeFi protocols in order to strengthen these protocols and help defend against potential DeFi hacks. The grant framework was launched and established, and since then we've seen a lot of applications. We're actually going to be reviewing some of that in the quarterly report later on in the show. The Antelope rebrand came about, followed by the Antelope Coalition joining together EOS, UX, WAX, and Telos in order to work together to build the Antelope protocol, which we all use to power our highly performant blockchain networks. EOS Independence Day in September was an official celebration of leaving behind the old technology built by Block One and fully embracing the community-owned Antelope blockchain protocol. And then the ENF, Zysan, and many community members hit the road in 2022 and explain the EOS narrative and the hashtag new EOS to the wider crypto space. This year, we've seen some epic developments, technical developments. Inter-blockchain communication, promised more than 5 years ago, was finally implemented and launched on EOS, Telos, UX, and soon WAX as well. The EOS EVM, another big milestone for the community, launched just a couple weeks ago and is the most highly performant EVM in all of the crypto space and has seen lots of projects joining with some interesting increases in TVL over the last couple of weeks. And then, of course, the EOS Network Ventures, which is still being built up, and a flurry of partnerships with some of the biggest names in both crypto and governments, including Binance, Masari, City of Busan, and more lately, the City of Hong Kong as well. So in case it wasn't yet crystal clear, EOS is in the midst of an epic narrative reversal, and the new EOS has the potential to become the biggest comeback story of 2023. My name's Stephane. I'm one of the co-founders of EOS Nation. We're currently a top-ranked block producer on EOS and other Antelope chains, and I'm happy and honored to be your host for today. All right, that's a big intro. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed writing it. Thank you for everyone joining us live on Discord. Thank you for everyone listening in to the stream on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. We appreciate you out there. And if you've got questions, leave them in the chats of those other channels. We'll try to get to them live on the show as well. And of course, if you're here with us on Discord, you can jump on stage with me at any time, share your thoughts, questions, reactions, all of that good stuff. We love to hear from you guys. All right, before we get into the topics of the day, quick housekeeping items. Pop tokens, of course, we give those away every fireside. To those of you who join on Discord, you can claim them in the PopBot chat. The April raffle tickets can still be minted for another 40 minutes or so. So if you got 4 pop tokens, you can go mint your April raffle ticket, win some EOS prizes, win some fun NFTs, good times in that monthly draw. All right, and finally, shout out to Martin, our Fireside pre-party DJ, rocking the Discord, getting us hyped for the Fireside. We've been doing it for a couple weeks, 2 weeks now. I was able to join this week, actually. good beats. Martin's actually a pretty good DJ, and then he's mixing in some audio clips, some audio samples of Yves, for example, talking on the fireside, or of Gary Gensler getting grilled in Congress, and other legendary crypto audio. And so yeah, so that's a good time. So if you want to join us next week, sometime in the hour before the fireside, we're probably gonna have Martin firing up the DJ tables once more for everyone. All right, let's get into the topics of the day. So our first topic today, Conensus 2023 recap. So I know we had a bunch of EOS community members out there this week in Austin, or last week in Austin, Texas. Let's see here, who's in the chat with us that wants to talk. I may call you out and you aren't expecting it. I don't think Patty is with us just yet. Maybe she'll be joining in a bit. Dave on the production tables. Do you want to come on and say a few words about your experience at Conensus last week?
Yeah.
Yes, and I should and I should have given you a heads up. And I should have given you a heads up, probably.
Kickoff to the Conensus was great. There was a lot of people there. A lot of people I got to see in person from the far side. It was pretty amazing, actually. I'm not name dropping right now because I can't think. I mean, I just I should have written some notes. Huh? But yeah, as far as the event, it was great. It was great. We were there all day. I was there with Jason. His love handles. We're taking a lot of video. We'll be putting video out probably next week. There's a lot of video to go through, but yeah, you'll see me there. I was promoting.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
So yeah,
there you go.
I'm good.
Little sneak peek about some future topics. But yeah, I mean, we talked a bit earlier this week, Dave, about the event, and you know, one thing you mentioned was that you're out here on the fireside listening to all these people all the time on the audio. You know, Jason's working on the fireside clips a lot of the time as well. And then so it was cool for you guys to be able to actually meet in person all of these people that we hang out with, you know, audio only every week. So I was definitely jealous of you guys. I would have loved to be out there. A lot of cool pictures. I saw a lot of people. Hey, I see June here in the chat today. I know you were out there. I don't know if you want to come on the mic, say a little something. John from Boyd was there, but I don't think he's with us right now. And it's potential that Patty and Zack will be joining us in just a bit. Maybe they have some more thoughts to share. June? No, not going to join the mic. All right. All good. No worries. Maybe we get back to Conensus in a bit when we've got other guests joining. Yeah, Dave. June has unmuted his mic. Very exciting progress. However, we can't hear you. Maybe you want to check with your audio settings real quick. Give you a bit of interlude music while we wait for June. Or if anyone else, you know, went to the event, want to share a little something, obviously, feel free to jump on stage. Join us on stage. He completely left the event. All right. All right, awesome. Thanks, Dave. Hernan, I saw you unmute your mic. Did you want to say a little something? Again, can't hear you, Hernan, if you're trying to speak. June is back, but still muted.
Hey, Stephane, hey, thanks for giving me the mic here. And Dave kind of covered everything. And yeah, it was great to see everybody just in person. It's always good. And panel was great. And as mentioned, just to see everybody in the community that was out there dancing, Joy, John from Boyd, just Zack and Lovejoy. Just yeah, it was great to see everybody get together. So yeah, not much more to add other than yeah, look forward to all the media that comes out of it. So yeah, and it's always good for networking in general at Consensus. So just to keep up with the industry and see what's going on and get a pulse of the industry. So
Any cool projects maybe you learned about or cool technologies you want to share? Maybe even outside of the Antelope ecosystem, or maybe a highlight or another event outside of the kickoff that you went to.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these side events, and the ones that I was particularly interested in were the ones in Latin America, Brazil, and people are creating stablecoin projects. There's a Brazilian stablecoin project. Yeah, it's just great. What else? Just connecting with people that are coming from outside of the U.S. as well. So there were, a few speakers one from Nigeria that's been pretty successful with getting traction with their wallet and education. It's called Mara from Nigeria, and so just being able to talk to Chai after his panel talk and just meeting with the speakers there and just getting connected to reach out to the emerging markets is what I was most interested in. So it was great to see. Just it's a good main event that draws people from all over the world. So excited to meet there. In terms of technology, yeah, I didn't see anything that stood out really. I'm trying to think if there's anything. If I think of something, I'll let you know or type it in the chat. But I can't
Good stuff.
think
Good
of
stuff.
anything off the top.
All
So.
good. Thanks for joining us today and sharing your thoughts. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Thanks.
Hernan, second chance. If you wanted to jump on here.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Hernan, welcome to the Fireside.
Hi guys. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, just dropping to say hi, and there's just a quick update regarding Starter DAO. So we're getting it set up on the Haifa DAO platform. So that's happening, and the idea here is well, this is it's not gonna be like a huge pre-announcement until it's properly set up. But the idea is to start gathering back the members and refueling the project. I'm working with Dominic to create the founders, kind of the core team, and anyone who wants to take part is invited to the DAO. We're going to set up proposals to launch the token sale project and having it be a community led and community driven project. So that's the idea. So that's, I wanted to just drop in and announce that. And I want to ask
This is about
questions.
the EOS Starter DAO, right? And project?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, the starter
right
DAO.
on. Cool.
Mhm.
Good. That's awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that update.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask regarding. So I think the blend. I don't know how to blend the. I have enough pub tokens for like 2 raffle tickets, but I don't know how to blend them because the button on the website is like unclickable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the blend site.
Okay, let me share the link with everyone, first of all.
Hmm.
And then maybe Denis, can you just jump in here and explain how to manually send in the blend if the UI isn't working?
Oh, wait. Now, just
I think
You
it's
good?
working now.
I got the menu. Suddenly it jumped up. Maybe it wasn't the wrong screen. Maybe the link.
Oh, maybe it was an old ticket. Maybe it was an old ticket. So these tickets expire, right? They're only good. So in like 30 minutes, the button will be grayed out and you can't mint these anymore. And then you'll be able to mint the March raffle ticket.
I think it's grayed out already. Can it be?
I don't think so. Did you click the link I shared in the chat?
Yeah, it offers me to do the blend, but then the button in the bottom side, I can share my screen if you guys want.
Maybe share a screenshot in the chat and maybe, update us in the chat if you still can't get it to work. And we'll see.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you guys.
Maybe we won't do a debugging screenshot sharing on the Fireside.
No worries.
But yeah, good to hear from you, Hernan.
Yeah,
and
are we talking Pomelo today? Because I saw the announcement that there was going to be probably the claiming is already available or going to be something.
Yeah, I don't actually have Pomelo on the topic list for today. I'm not sure if the claim is officially live yet or not. I don't see Daniel in here either, so I'll ping him in the back here, and I'll make sure to update you guys before the end of the show.
Okay, and so I'm gonna have to jump off early today, but I want to extend the invitation, guys, to the Remember About the Web3 Creators podcast. So it's going out great, and I'm editing right now the episode that's going live tomorrow with Matty Greenspan. I don't know if he's a very well known analyst from eToro. So I had a bit of a 2-3 week period without an episode, but the invitation is open for any Antelope and EOS community member to join me in the podcast. So reach out to me and present your thoughts, your projects, your career on the Web3 space. I think it's gonna be a great exposure and spotlight for anyone in the community.
There you go. Open invite to the Antelope community. That's great, Hernan. And
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Good luck with everything. Thanks for joining.
Hey Hannah, Martin here. I put out the tweet that the Pomelo claiming is live. So you will find in the tweet on Pomelo Grants, at Pomelo Grants, you will find the instructions. So when it's not live yet, then it will be live anytime soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. And just checking up the chat here. I see Glue Dog has joined us. I know it's very late for him to join the Fireside, but good to see you here. And he asked if I used ChatGPT to write the intro. Fair question. Basically, you got to ask that every time you see anything online these days. But no, this is purely in human intelligence written. No ChatGPT was used. Just me getting in there, thinking back about the last 5 years and trying to write up an epic story for everyone here. Seems like Glue Dog thought it was boring. Too bad, Glue Dog. Sorry about that. Feel free to send me some feedback on what you'd like to hear in these epic intros. Also, thank you, Brendan Lovejoy, for letting me know that the rest of the ENF team is not just ignoring the Fireside today. I had a bunch. We have all these plans to get a bunch of people from the ENF to talk about all these topics, and here I am just kind of stalling while none of the ENF team has joined us right now, but it seems like they're on a call and they're wrapping up shortly, so they're going to join. That's great. All right, so kind of messing with my agenda order here because we had a lot of ENF related topics here at the top of the show. But maybe what I can do is I can go into the quarterly report that was released. We're going to hear from Yves and Lliam potentially about this quarterly report. But I went through it and I'm going to share some of the highlights with you guys that I found interesting. So let me first of all share some links in the chat for everyone. There you go. And Hernan asking how to mint the tickets on blocks. Yeah, we can get Denis in the chat here. He can explain to you how to do it. Not too complicated. It's a simple transfer. Actually, you can do it from Atomic Hub. Just need to know the exact memo to leave in there. Okay, back to the quarterly report. So Q1 report for 2023. There's a message from the CEO to start it off, which I will save for later when Yves joins us. And then, some of the things I wanted to highlight. Notable growth metrics, 25 blog posts, 331% increase in Chinese Twitter Spaces audiences. That's great. 41% increase in watch time on YouTube, 44% increase in video views on YouTube, 1.93 million tweet impressions, and almost 20% increase in Twitter followers. Not a bad quarter on social media. Of course, and then it kind of goes into a recap of a lot of the highlights of the first quarter, which I'll quickly name out here. Of course, EOS EVM mainnet beta launch happened. Notable partnerships with Masari, Binance. They talk about additional milestones, such as the EOS Network Ventures committing to invest 20 million in GameFi and EVM. The ENF began the monthly block producer meetings and reports. ENF joining the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, joining the Canadian Blockchain Consortium as well, partnering with Multichain, which expands cross-chain capabilities for the EVM, and partnering with Upland on the current ongoing hackathon. There's a lot of events. They were present on 3 different continents in first quarter, so that's very cool. We had ETH Denver, Paris Blockchain Week, Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, DC Blockchain Summit, International Women of Blockchain in Washington, Web3 Festival in Hong Kong, Consensus 23 in Austin, Texas, and London Tech Week and Collision Conference in Toronto. I think those last 2 may be upcoming, actually. What else? There's, of course, some Pomelo highlights, which we've covered on previous firesides for the Season 5 stats. Direct grant framework updates, actually, which I mentioned at the top of the show here. EVM name service and Vault protocol were the 2 grants that were approved through the grant framework in this first quarter. The Facings NFT collection manager also completed stage 1 of its grant proposal. And some interesting stats: since the launch of the direct grant framework, the platform received 77 applications. Pretty good. Of those 77, 15 milestone-driven grant applications have been approved, 4 of which have been completed. So across these applications, a total of just over $650,000 has been committed to contributors in the ecosystem pending milestone completion. So far, just over $210,000 has been paid out. So that's great to see some of the most active teams, in EOS getting paid to continue to build these goods that are going to be beneficial to the entire community. Technical development, of course, lots happened on that front as well. A bunch of Leap upgrades from 3.1.4 to all the way to 3.2.3. There was also Leap 4.0 that was the release candidate 2 was released in the first quarter, and Dune v1.1 as well. In terms of the Antelope Coalition, of course, the IBC launched, the peer-to-peer Discover RFP was awarded to the Fudan University, one of China's top institutions. And then in terms of Antelope marketing efforts, we can expect more activity from the Antelope Twitter starting this quarter. So that's nice to hear. And instant finality work continues. And finally, the operations and financial overview. Total spending was 5.8 million this quarter. And the final slide here shows the roadmap of what we can expect in Q2 and Q3. So some of these items include the Leap 4.0 release, which was just done last week, peer-to-peer P2P peer development, IBC monitoring and analysis tools, Antelope.io firewall development, provable state domains and smart contract tooling RFPs, instant finality testnet deployment, Vault protocol, DAO policy quest and circle proposal, and Pomelo grants season 6. That's coming up in Q2. In Q3, we've got EVM ecosystem improvements, instant finality audit, SDK contract kit and account kit, EVM name service testing and deployment, Leap September/October release, EOS Network Ventures funding, and Pomelo grants season 7. So that gives you guys a brief overview of the quarterly report and highlights some of the stats that I found interesting. All right, looks like our friends at the ENF have joined us. That's great. Welcome, guys. We've got 70 people in the Discord. That's awesome. I don't know when you guys joined, Yves, Zack, Lliam. I was just kind of going over the quarterly report. So I don't know, maybe Yves, you want to talk a bit about the letter from the CEO that starts off, and maybe any other things you want to highlight from that?
Sure. I just joined 2 minutes ago, so I just got the very tail end of your, I guess, report on the report. Yeah, I can talk about the letter to the CEO. The big focus that people will notice in the letter to the CEO is EVM. I mean, we've been working on EVM now for a little over a year, actually more than that if you really count from the beginning. And so that was a huge milestone for the ENF and for the network to finally have a full RPC compatible EVM deployed on mainnet, and the response from the community has been tremendous. It's been incredible. Within a very, very short period of time, let's say in the last 15 to 18 days, so 2 to 3 weeks or so, we've seen an uptick in number of applications deploying onto EOS through the EVM, number of TVL increasing, number of new accounts increasing, number of EOS being locked up in that EVM contract measurably that can showcase comparatively to the native side of things, a significant amount. So it's not one for one; it's almost the same. So the EVM support and the EVM, I guess, side of things has been incredible, and for us that's great. We I personally did not expect that quickly, that much, and it's been really good. And there's a bunch of other efforts going on in the background to keep amplifying that and to keep leveraging that. So that's a huge part of that letter to the CEO that we want to highlight because it's a huge file for us. At the same time, just coming off of the first quarter, we've done a few trips, a few of those outreach events and such. So we talked about that a little bit, and then I guess I'll leave it to you, Steph. Was there anything else in that letter to the CEO that grabbed your attention that you'd like, or anybody else on in the Discord that would like to to address or to ask or whatever, and I can focus on that too.
Yeah, letter from the CEO. You've been talking like you've been sending yourself a letter.
Letter to the CEO, yes.
But actually, I didn't even read it when I went through the report because I knew you were going to be here. So I figured I'm just going to wait for Yves to talk to me directly instead of reading it. So I didn't actually.
Gotcha. Okay, let me. I'm going to pull it up in the background. If anybody else has anything, then go for it. If not, I'll open my own copy to read myself. If I can actually find it.
While you do that, I'm messing around here with our April ticket. I was able to blend it successfully on our blend page, so I'm not sure why, Hernan, you're seeing that error. I'm on a Windows Brave browser, but what I'll do, Hernan, is I'll get you the memo that you need to leave when you do a transfer. In order to just kind of mint it directly yourself. You got Brave at Mac, yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely pass this bug report along to Denis to see kind of what's happening there. But as a workaround, here we go. Let me just find this section here. My transfers, community. So what you have to do is you have to transfer 4 POP tokens to the account blend.gems. And then the memo is community NFT :9299. There you go. So if you do that transfer, it will automatically mint you your raffle ticket. You still got 20 minutes to do that. Let me know if that doesn't work for now. All right, Yves, are we?
Yeah, and the last part in that letter was just talking about the Leap 4.0, which we released this quarter as well. And that's quite significant because it's, as you noticed, it's an increase in number. So it's a version number increase. We went from the 3.2 previously to the 4.0. We then fall into our regular updates, so to speak. So we talked about this before, spring and fall. This may not be the last time, but there's a high likelihood that it's the last time where we see a version number increase in spring. So we were basically just catching up because the last release was really the first one, but it was kind of a half release because we were going, we were leveraging the 3.0, 3.1 beforehand. So now it's Leap 4.0. Most likely in September, you'd have Leap 5.0. And then the 6.0 would be following fall. So you wouldn't have 6.0, let's say, in the spring. This is our second release, I guess the second full release. So it's quite significant for us. A lot of performance increases in there. And then I'll just leave it to what you said, because that's what I caught on the tailwind of when I came in. A lot of improvements on that underlying tech front that went into that particular release. And then preparing for the September release. Again, that September release is when you would have breaking changes and potentially the hard fork side of things. Whereas in the spring release, you may have breaking changes, but you would not have the hard fork type of release. I'm not sure if you're trying to talk, Steph. Nope, you're back.
Nope. I was just hanging out. But cool, that's great. Thanks for the narrated CEO letter. Like
Sure.
Nathan said in the chat. All right, so let's see here. Who else do we have in the chat? Patty's not here. I don't know if she's joining or not.
Patty cannot join today, unfortunately.
Not joining today. All right, so who do we have here? I think we got Brandon, we've got Zack that were at the Conensus 2023. So we'd love to hear from you guys about the event, how it went, what you enjoyed, some highlights, all that good stuff. We heard from Dave and Jin earlier that were there as well, but we'd love to hear from you guys also.
Zach, you want to jump in there?
I was going to let you start, not jump in. I'm still deep into some EVM stuff. I wasn't thinking about Conensus. I'll jump in now.
Crawl your way back out from EVM. Yeah, it was good. It was really great to see everybody. I was I was the sole attendee at last year's Conensus, and that was pretty surreal for different reasons. And this year we had a pretty nice crew of people representing there. We hosted a pretty awesome side event, and the turnout was pretty great. And I was really happy to see all the people that showed up there. A few of whom are in this chat right now. It was just really nice to meet everybody in person, and we made a lot of great connections. Had a great meeting with Eyal Herzog and talked about their project BBS, which we'll be releasing a little video from that at some point here in the next couple weeks, or maybe even sooner. Yeah, so much stuff to cover. Zach, do you have any highlights you want to jump in on?
Yeah, I mean, Consensus is a CoinDesk sponsored event, so the media coverage there was much better than other, I guess, events outside of Consensus as far as who was there. So we got to interact with people from there, from other media outlets. Those interviews, text-based and video, will be coming out over the coming days or week. It's all under the timelines of the publishers themselves if they decide to publish any of the discussions. So that was really cool. Our PR partners for at least the English-speaking audience were also present. Our account manager for Market Across was there, for example. They're a Tel Aviv-based PR company that specializes in the Web3 space. So having them there was useful because them being able to make in-person introductions. They had a press pass, so they were basically staked out in the press area the whole time and would send me text messages when it was worthwhile to come over and say hello for like a cold intro, or I guess a warm intro at that point. But that was really good. Got to meet with a lot of exchanges, and there's a lot of opportunities to replicate programs like you saw a few months ago with Binance. So with Binance, when we did like the AMAs and then learn to earn quizzes, we'll be starting some of those with other exchanges. So Upit was one of the ones that I think would be first. They've got a pretty cool program that they're launching, a metaverse program where basically they have, I can't really explain the front end, but that stuff will probably be coming over the next couple of weeks or months based on our news cycles and when we decide to run a program with them. They weren't the only ones. We talked to a lot of different projects, a lot of EVM projects, because that's one of the biggest changes that's happened since April 14th. I mean, didn't change specifically on April 14th with the EVM launch because we knew it was coming, but the number of doors that have been opened because like previously, so my personal conference ramp up started last fall. So I was in ETH Toronto, and then in Singapore for Token 2049, London for Token 2049, the Central Miami. At all of those events, like people connected with the EOS story, other projects, just individuals, investors. But if they were a project, for example, there was really not many ways to collaborate together just because of the differences in technologies. So having the doors open for EVM, whether that means a project hasn't even chosen a chain yet and they plan to deploy and they're looking for a home, like previously without the EVM support, like it would have been impossible. They would have had to have all that technical debt to kind of migrate a project over to another stack. But then there's also lower hanging fruits, which are just multi-chain opportunities. So there's an incredible amount of projects who are willing to deploy to multiple chains to tap into the user bases of each of them. So a lot of those opportunities have kind of not just come to fruition, but they're more real now that the EVM's launched, because before it was, let's talk in a couple of months when it's launched. Now it's like, we have this, we have a grant program, here are all the links, like let's touch base afterwards type of thing. And also just like discussions with people, like they're genuinely interested in hearing the story. There's still a lot of re-education going on, so it's still what happened to the $4 billion. I don't think that's ever going to go away. But there is a sense of a lot of people who might not know exactly what we have going on here, but they know something's going on. So they might have scrolled past the headline, for example, because we're just giving the general public a lot more touch points of EOS. For a long time, it just wasn't mentioned on CoinDesk, Cointelegraph. But we saw, like, when the EVM launched, we got, I think we had the Block, CoinDesk, and Cointelegraph all covering us in the same day with two different stories. That never happened before. So even though I can't say that everyone's clicking the articles and then they know what's going on when we have face-to-face in person, but they are at least seeing EOS. They know something's going on. They don't know necessarily what. There are some that do know what, but it's definitely a continuous shift. So it's the re-education is going to continue, but we're making a lot of progress on that. And now there's opportunities to actually work with other projects. For example, like let's say Chainlink, for example. Previously, if we wanted a Chainlink-based oracles on native EOS, it would have been a major undertaking. Someone like them would have to build out brand new technology just to deploy on an Antelope-based chain. Whereas now, if we wanted, there's other things involved with them choosing where to deploy, and I'm just giving them as an example. But if they wanted to deploy on EOS EVM, it's basically point and click from their standpoint. There's not much additional infrastructure needed to be able to deploy. And they're already doing that on, I believe, 8 to 10 different chains at this point. And you instantly get that service. And right now, for example, the EOS EVM doesn't have an Oracle service. So we're currently in the market to look for a strategic partner for oracles. So having the opportunity to touch base with all of these different projects, we have a lot of underlying needs for the EOS EVM still. We've got some really cool DeFi projects that have launched. But we're still lacking things like an NFT marketplace, things like oracles. So it's great to be able to spray and pray, basically talk to a lot of different individuals within wider Web3 space and just open doors. Hopefully be able to follow up in the coming weeks, but it was very productive. Also great opportunities, just you can't replicate in person anything, like that's just in general. Like different examples, like Brandon, the one example of you bumping into the ex-Polygon guy in the elevator and then learning how he grew their gaming team from like 3 to 300 in 10 months. Like all of the like stories that we got out of that, like just because you happen to be in an elevator with him. So there were like multiple things like that occurred. And yeah. Did I miss anything? I rambled on for a while there.
That was good. Well, I don't know. Is Lliam on? I feel like get some more perspectives on the.
I was gonna say, you touched a little bit about this, but just being with partners is really nice. Both like getting to know like our PR team in person, but then people like the Upland team, right? So we got to have lunch with them and also see them at events. The Upland team was involved in a talkback panel, so it was great both to be able to elevate people like that and then also kind of learn about what's working for them on EOS, where their pain points are, what's working for them just for things like onboarding users and how we can bring that to our own ecosystem, or sorry, what our broader efforts in the ecosystem. So I think that was great. And beyond that, it was nice for us just to be in person and connect with different people at the ENF, right, and have some time to work in person, because you don't always get that. It's a different sort of vibe that you get when you're doing that versus working online. So that was nice. I just posted a link in the chat. We recorded the talkback panel, so that went out yesterday, and we'll have a vlog coming out tomorrow, so you guys can see some more shots of what we were up to. I think the other thing that was interesting is last year at Consensus, it was definitely still a bull market kind of feeling. This year, in terms of like the amount of money spent on booths and stuff at the event, it was definitely more of a bear market kind of vibe. There were still 15,000 attendees there, but I think it was really smart the way the events team did things by doing things at like a side event. We got 95 people at least through the door, and we avoided those high costs of doing a booth on the floor at Consensus, and a lot more effective because we were at the top of the week before any of the events that were going on. So people who were just arriving, were coming to our event and starting off their week with us. So I think that was really great. It wasn't just connecting with the community that we have, but also, meeting new community members and also people from surrounding chains, right? We had Telos who was there hanging out as well, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a great event. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I guess I only mentioned like partners and things like that. There were a lot of community members. So Dan Singjoy was there, for example. John from Boyd, if he's on here. So it was really cool to Sergi from Attic Lab, one of the top 21 BPs. So just getting to meet people in person was always a good time. I always enjoy meeting people.
And I think this was our first real community event that we've done, at least since the ENF. Maybe I'm wrong on this, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had a presence at conferences before, but this is, I think, our first real community event where community members could come out and meet in person. And so for a first time doing something like that, it was a massive success, I'd say, and I'm excited kind of just to see how things grow from here and how we do, more events like this for the community.
Yeah, mad respect for our excellent sound and AV technician Lliam, keeping it all wired up and keeping. Yeah, it was good job. He had all those, every wireless mic lined up and charged up and ready to go. The panel went off like without a hitch. I was pretty impressed and helped out with that. But I also wanted to say, Zack kind of mentioned that like people aren't going to forget the 4 billion or whatever, but I feel like there's like an increasingly sizable audience of people that just has no idea. Like we 100%. Really have a clean slate with a lot of people, and so it's kind of a weird, obviously in some ways that's not a good thing, but in some ways it's perfect for where we're at right now. The opportunity to come out and the people that do know our story and the kind of like the comeback and the narrative of the new EOS are pretty pumped, and they're definitely like rooting for us, and that's kind of the vibe that I got from a lot of people that I met there. And I've also heard the one adjective that got thrown around a lot after, like in Telegram messages and follow-ups with people that we spoke with there, was genuine. Everyone was like, yeah, you guys are really genuine, and we really think like what you're doing is worthwhile and valuable, and so that felt really good just to hear. It's something Zack brought up also. As I don't know in what context you brought this up, Zack, but it was just like this idea that these other orgs with like massive, like multi-million-dollar budgets, but just because they have budgets doesn't mean they're allocating those budgets efficiently. And we've just heard so many stories of like just unbelievable amounts of like wasted money being pumped into the ecosystem from various, blockchains.
From insiders working at those foundations, deploying all of that capital, admitting that it's kind of a spray and pray approach and it's hugely inefficient. And we've also ran into several projects, and we also ran into projects at GDC of some of the like chains known for deploying large amounts of grants and capital, pulling back on it and rescinding grants and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. It's the bear market affecting them because they've got a huge amount of liabilities. Liabilities.
Oh, yeah, liabilities. Yeah.
Well, they're on the hook. So think about it. If you're Polygon and you made $100 million deal with some AAA game studio when the bull market was good, you make this $100 million deal. It's not $100 million up front. It's like $100 million over 3 years. So they're on the hook for a couple $1 million every single month, regardless of market conditions, regardless of their token price, regardless of their treasury size. So there's a lot of pain going on across other ecosystems that you might not be able to see on the surface. And that is one of the benefits of EOS, and because of our history, is we don't have those kinds of liabilities. There aren't any large liabilities. The only liabilities there are on the quarterly reports and in the grant framework, if you're following them, where you see what milestones are still left unpaid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's no millions of dollars that we owe anyone that's like hidden.
Yeah, and that's like another area where I got a lot of feedback where people were really impressed with like what we've been able to do so far with what little we've had to work with and how efficient we've been.
All for the cost of a voice.com domain.
Right.
One other thing that was kind of nice timing with it was the just the open sourcing of the EVM during the week we were there. It's cool to, like, when you talk to somebody and you're talking about EOS and our story and where we've come, and then you go, oh, and we also have an EVM and we just open sourced it, and then you start to see the look on their face. They get more excited, and I had that experience with it with a couple of people that I talked to. So I think that was really good timing. Another thing I've learned just at both this event and then when I went to Youth Denver a couple of months ago was the amount of collaboration between different EVM-based chains. You'd think people would be a lot more competitive and not talking to each other, but there's certainly this sense of community across different EVM ecosystems, whether it's the Ethereum community or the Polygon community or whatever. And so I think it's nice for us to be able to bring that to the table when we're chatting with these different industry professionals or just community members, as it's just another really great vector for collaboration.
What did we leave out? The Cointelegraph article from Cointelegraph magazine was pretty cool to come out while we were there, because there's a nice follow-up of, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but here's a link.
Jumping ahead on the agenda, Zach, but yeah, definitely cool article. We can maybe actually talk about it next week. I'm actually talking with Lliam, the author, to get her to come on the Fireside. She was interested in coming today, but the schedule wouldn't allow it. So maybe we'll have her on next week, and we can talk a bit more about this article, kind of what's included in it, how she approached it, how it got written, all that stuff. Lots of
That'd be lovely.
Nice information. Yeah, lots of nice information in there. So hopefully we've got another nice special guest for everyone next week.
It's probably not on the agenda because it came out afterwards, but Phil Mesnier from OCI also published a really great article today on Antelope IBC. I'll drop a link in the chat here in a sec, but we should probably see if he can come on next week too.
Phil's on right now. Phil, we ready?
Phil's on.
Fire away. We ready to fire away right away, or do you want a bit of preparation time and we can schedule it properly for next week?
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. Can you ask that again?
Zach just brought up the fact that you published an article today. I didn't even see it yet, but I was wondering if you wanted to talk a bit about it, or maybe you want to schedule this for next week on the Fireside, give you a bit more time to prepare.
I can talk about it. I was going to mention it. Yeah. And no, it was a month or so ago I came on and asked a wrong question about IBC, and that inspired me to go through and really learn the protocol and the ins and outs, and I ended up writing a document that shares my experience and what I learned, and Lliam and Fabiana and from their network, UX Network, they helped me out, and Zack has posted the link, so go check it out.
There you go. Yeah. So the title of the article: Inter-Blockchain Communication Using Antelope.io. And so let me just scroll quickly here, maybe share some of the titles of the section. We got motivation for the inter-blockchain communication, the mechanics of Antelope IBC, some nice diagrams, example usage, a more detailed look, some more information about the bridge contract, the proof server, the example wrap lock contract, all things I have no idea what they mean, but this is a nice juicy article, fairly long. So those of you who are interested in learning more, digging deeper into the technical aspects of IBC, looks like this is a pretty good article.
Yeah, very, very much for a technical audience. It is excellent. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks. Funny you say that. I was thinking I was proud of myself for not being so technical in this article. But I guess it all depends on your perspective.
I think it's light enough that someone on the peripheral of the technical components can understand it very easily. So not an engineer, but someone like a product manager or project manager type of person in the space could definitely understand it.
Well, hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do more in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I know the EOS community loves it when there's technical articles or presentations that get shared with the public. I know on our side, Matthew Darwin, whenever he tweets out some stuff or whatever, that's always a big hit with the community. I'm sure your article also is going to be a big hit, even if some of us can't understand everything. Awesome.
Okay, well,
thanks, Phil, for jumping on here last minute.
No problem. Thank you.
Everyone give it some claps. I just gave it all 50 that I could. For the algorithm.
For the algorithm.
And this was
For the algorithm.
Also significant. It's my first Medium article.
All right, good job, Phil. First Medium article. Hoping to see more from you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to our next topic. EOS EVM is now open source. So I've got a few questions about that actually, but first maybe we can hear from Yves if he's still with us. Maybe some of the significance or reasoning behind this move. Or anything else you want to share?
Yeah, man. I'm just laughing because I guess how is this? Why is this significant? And kind of was the reasoning behind this? Multi-pronged, but in terms of significance, I think it is quite significant because it is. Having said that, though, I think it's quite late. We actually wanted to open source this much sooner. We wanted to build out open source, and we wanted to have this. The building process completely open as well. But for those who remember, the original onset part of the project with this was Trust EVM, which was a completely separate team. And I mentioned a long time ago that the largest stakeholder for EVM essentially was the EOS network. And people didn't really know what that means. Well, from a legal point of view, it's 100% the networks. And so there was a shift there where we decided to take it over from the Trust EVM team. But as we were going through that process, then it made the open sourcing at that time and subsequent to that quite difficult. And so we wanted from the very beginning for that to be the case. But unfortunately, it couldn't, just for logistical challenges and renaming of GitHub repos, a bunch of different things in there anyways. And you can see some of that legacy if you go look at the repo right now. And so as a fundamental principle, though, so having put kind of that transition, that Trust EVM to EOS EVM component aside, from a philosophical point of view or a fundamental values point of view, it is very, very, very important for me. It is it's primordial. Basically, it's one of the reasons why I'm in this space, that everything we do is open source. I believe that this space exists in the way that it exists, in part because of that fundamental value of building out in the open and of, in a spirit of collaboration. And one of the things that differentiates people is less so their IP, but it is their capacity to execute. And so for me, it's incredibly important to have not only what we do at the ENF be open source, not just after it's built, but during the building process, and also to provide the mechanisms for community to be part of that building process, that is still a work in progress in itself. And so it's not just building out in the open, it's not just having it in the open, it's also creating the conditions so people can come and provide impact and feedback and input into that process. And so I fundamentally believe this is one of the values of Web3. I think that's what's spurred a lot of the innovation in Bitcoin originally. I think it's what spurred the majority of the innovation early on and still to this day in the Ethereum community. And so for me, it's really important to have that at the forefront. The other side of things as well, which kind of is irrelevant to this, but in a way very worthy of mention, everything that we do within the ENF comes from the budget that is enabled to us and that is essentially forwarded our way, or that we are made stewards of from the EOS token holders. And so as much as I also understand this idea that there's value in keeping IP closed in order to be able to potentially monetize that for the benefit of token holders in terms of a business case, business sense. I think that there's way more value that can be unlocked by building out in the open and being able to share what it is you're working on in a way that enables others to be able to leverage off of it, contribute to it, and essentially amplify it and make it better. And so kind of a long-winded way to say that for me, open source it's a requirement. It is one of the fundamental beliefs I have in Web3 is that things should be open source, and that collaborative nature, that collaborative approach that got us to where we are, is why we are where we are right now. So very, very important to me.
All right, very cool. Anyone else have some comments or questions around surrounding the open sourcing of the EOS EVM? So if the EOS EVM is open source, does that mean any network can copy this code and deploy it on their networks? Or is this only available basically to Antelope networks? Like, is this going to benefit outside of the Antelope ecosystem or mainly other Antelope networks?
It will definitely benefit the other Antelope ecosystems. I believe that Wax had already, if I'm not mistaken, put in their roadmap the fact that they would be having EVM this year. And if I'm not mistaken, so if somebody knows otherwise, please let me know. I believe the goal there is to actually use our EVM. And so we can already see, if I'm not mistaken, the benefits to others of having our code being open sourced. And this is the first and the only, as far as I know, Antelope EVM that is open source. And then people are able to see how that is done as well. So to address the second part of the question in terms of are others potentially outside of Antelope capable of leveraging this? I believe there are some components, but I'm not entirely certain. But there are some components perhaps of the Silkworm side of things and or of the smart contract side of things for gas that others would be able to leverage in terms of logic. Whether or not they would be able to just do a copy paste, I'm not certain, but definitely some of that logic could be used, if not already existing elsewhere.
Okay, right on. Very cool. Very cool. So, yeah.
I think a big part of the achievement here is the speed at which we're able to open source. So obviously, like I said, I would have loved to have it open source from the very beginning, and it was not possible in the way that we originally launched this project. But for everything else that we do, and for those who've come accustomed to the way that ENF works in that last year and a half, whether it be during the node operator calls or any of the other initiatives we lead, the grant framework or whatever it is, everything we do is open source from the very beginning. That's really, really important.
Very cool. Jess here in the chat. Welcome, Jess, to the Fireside. You've been leaving a bunch of great comments and questions in there, and definitely want to address some of them. Your latest comments, I'm not sure I totally understand. Maybe someone with more of a technical background would like to address it. And when you're talking about PR plus merge, go to testnet, are you talking EOS EVM or EOS native on this? Anyway, so if maybe
I understand the question. So right now, and maybe just if that's not the case, maybe correct me if my understanding is not right for what I believe you're asking. The current deployed version on testnet matches the deployed version on mainnet. As we make improvements to the code, that those new improvements would not be on the mainnet nor the testnet until those contracts are updated on either or. So the new version of EVM that is being worked on. So there's already, we're already working on the newest version or on the updated version, new features, etc. Will likely be 0.5. And typically the process will be mirroring what we do on mainnet for mainnet upgrades. Is you would have a new version release. Let's assume in this case that it's going to be EOS EVM v0.5. You would have that out maybe in release candidate 1, release candidate 2, whatever it is, final release. That would then be, those versions would be deployed on the testnet to test it out until your final release candidate is on the testnet. And then that's stable, and then we deem it stable enough to recommend to the block producers to deploy that version, that latest, let's say 0.5 final release on mainnet. So typically, you will always have the latest version, latest updates, latest features on testnet prior to mainnet. Yeah, if that's what you were asking. So any changes that you see currently would not be reflected in the live versions because you would need the code redeployed. And we do invite, so I'm guessing clearly you're looking at the repo. I do invite those who are developers to go look at the code, and if you see improvements that can be made or any additions that would be worthwhile, please go. This is the whole point of building out in the open, is to be able to leverage others who can materially contribute to smart contracts and or to contracts and help out with that development, so that it's not just built in a silo limited to the resources that we have, but that it's expanded to potentially add on resources out there. And that's what we're hoping to see as well with this, is if what I mentioned earlier is correct, whereby Wax is going to leverage that EVM and deploy it. I'm really hoping that they do so as well open source, and that any other features that they add that is relevant, they just merge onto that repo, and then it makes, you know, everybody's EVM better instead of working off in a closed silo. And yeah.
Very cool. Excellent. Thank you for answering that question, Yves. All right. Do we have any more questions or topics on EOS EVM? Seems like Jest is satisfied with the answers. Good stuff.
I did some math on it this morning. So currently the EVM is scheduled to burn. I say that because it's a manual process, but the funds accumulating in the burn account are equating to about 71% of what Rex generates per day in yield from power up, EOS name fees, and EOS name auctions, or RAM fees, auctions, and power up. All of those combined, the EVM's generating about 71% of that in its burns. So that's pretty good.
Cool.
One more tidbit to add before we move away from the EVM topic. We've done one audit, and the audit was a fuzzy audit from Sentinel, and Sentinel was here last week to talk about that. We are in the process of doing another audit, and we're looking at different vendors. We're pretty sure we've locked down the one we want to work with, but we're in negotiations. And the reason why I want to bring it up is there's, as with anything else, there's a continuous investment and focus on security. So an audit doesn't mean, so once you do an audit, it doesn't mean you're done and done. I don't think that that's the right approach to looking at it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up as well is in that open source side of things. When you open source code, you're inviting people to look at the potential flaws in that code. And so that's one way of improving security. Another way of improving security is going through formal audits. Another way of improving security is then setting out bug bounties alongside that code, alongside those audits, etc. And so our approach, and I'm kind of oversimplifying here, I'm just giving a few different options here, I guess, different variables within that security framework mix. But this idea that we strengthen the security of the code through multiple different areas, open source being one of them, formal audits being one of them. We're also looking at, and Denis and I had talked about this multiple times in the past, do you redo audits in the future? So just because you did one audit, do you redo audits when your code improves, when you make changes? Yes. Do you do audits as well when you hit certain timestamps, for example, every 6 months or every year? Possibly. Do you do audits, do you redo audits every time you meet a certain TVL threshold, for example? Possibly, yes. So this idea of continual security emphasis is something that's very important to us as well. And so we're already, even though we just did an audit, we're already in talks to do a second audit at a different level with a different company, so that we can continuously improve on that security for basically for all of you, for our end users, so that we can't remove the possibility of something happening, but we can do everything in our power to mitigate as much as possible and create an environment where those risks are heavily reduced.
All right. Before we move on, just going to share some TVL update. We're up to almost $2.5 million in TVL on the EOS EVM. Not too bad, not too bad. Seen some nice rises in the last week.
Yeah, we've seen quite a lot of TVL increase, application deployment. We've seen, as Zack just mentioned as well, EOS lockup essentially heading towards burn. By multiple very tangible metrics, the EVM is quite successful. And so we'll be pouring more fuel on that fire, so to speak, because there's tremendous demand, and there's definitely room for us to increase our supply to meet that demand. And so that's a big part of what I wrote in the letter of the CEO, not to the CEO.
And what's this, Zack, that you're sharing?
Zack is sharing multi-chain. And so in the multi-chain bridge, we have, I don't know what the exact number is, but roughly $1.5, $1.5 million already. And so even the multi-chain bridge has been quite successful as well as just getting started.
There we go. We see $800,000 of Tether in there. 253 ETH, 230,000 USDC. Very cool. Very cool.
And it's all happening without subsidies. So like Yield Plus hasn't been extended to EVM yet. There hasn't been any, like a lot of the grants that are being applied for by EVM projects, they're just still under review. So it's not like this is all happening organically, which is great, because we wanted, when we announced the mainnet launch date, whenever it was, February or March, when we first put the date out, we specifically called it mainnet beta on purpose, just to kind of set expectations, because we knew it was going to be lacking features at the time of launch, and we also knew it was going to take some time to extend different programs and get the grant through the pipeline. We knew that, and even with all of that, we're still seeing an incredible amount of activity, well beyond in certain ways more than what was expected. And I think it's just going to continue to improve. I don't even know how many grants there are in the pipeline. I don't know how many of them will get approved, but a lot of them are EVM specific, and a lot of them are actually requesting a lot less capital than what we've traditionally seen requested for native projects even. And I think a reason behind that is because it's cheaper to deploy a brand new application without a bunch of engineering costs, because you don't have to build as much from scratch, because you're able to tap into the knowledge base, the libraries, open Zeppelin code that exists within the EVM space.
I can share some metrics on that, because you're bringing that up, the grant side of things. We're up to 74 grants so far. Not all 74 have been processed, but just 74 have been submitted to the point where they properly submitted, because there's more that didn't complete or didn't finally submit. But there's 74 formal grants. In the last 16 grants, I would say that roughly 80% are EVM focused. And in terms of size, as Zack mentioned, we're seeing that the majority of the grants that are coming from the EVM side of things are between half to a third of the cost. So they're typically under 50K with generally a limit of roughly 50K, versus on the, let's say, native side of things, we saw way more frequent 100, 150,000, even up to $200,000 level applications. We're seeing that less on the EVM side of things. So a greater number, lower costs, and typically as well in terms of time to deployment, we're seeing that the grants that have gone through, because there were some that went through before the EVM launch, but on the EVM side of things, are also faster to deploy because there's just less lag time. A lot of it is deployment side of things.
All right, and the last thing I want to mention, we got neutral swap rising to the top of the TVL charts on the EOS EVM, up to almost $1.5 million in TVL. Very cool. We had Jonas from Neutral Swap join us on the Fireside last week or the week before, and at that time they were at $500,000. So cool, extra $1 million of TVL has been added to that protocol. We can see here the 7-day change at over 500% increase. Very cool and exciting to hear that, yeah, all of this is organic growth and that there's other projects in the pipelines waiting to get funded and waiting to deploy to the EOS EVM. Very exciting.
You want to call out some of the juicy yields on any of the farms right now? Noah and Neutro both just launched their token, so they've got the DeFi yields that you come to expect from new protocols.
Oh, nice. Some cool 1,000% yields.
Yeah, I can't get mine to load. I'll read them in a second, but
yeah, I've not been keeping up to date, so I'm not too sure. I don't have updated numbers on those, but definitely let us know, Zach, when you get those numbers.
All right, I'm going to share both the protocols. I'm not picking favorites here, but
and disclaimer,
keep in mind it's low market caps. There's low liquidity. Like it's a brand new project, but it's
do your own research. Just because we're bringing them up here on the Fireside doesn't mean we're vouching for these projects. Doesn't mean we've done our due diligence. We're just kind of showing the most popular projects right now. So definitely do your own diligence before shoving all your money in there. 668% APR on the wrapped EOS/neutral pair. Very cool. Over 1,000 on the wrapped ETH and neutral pair. Lots of APRs to be grabbed right now. Exciting to see.
And one thing I want to add too for the multi-chain, if you haven't used multi-chain yet, it's actually extremely easy. You can actually deposit via multiple different blockchains. So if you have assets on Polygon, Avalanche, BNB, Ethereum, they're all connected. So it's one bridge, and you can deposit your tether from Polygon and still transport it to EOS. So it's a multi-chain bridge, and it's not just limited to one single chain. So if you're trying to cut down on the transaction fees, it's much better to use maybe like Avalanche or Polygon instead of Ethereum, right? But it's pretty quick for Ethereum. It's a little bit slow. So some of the people have actually been getting a few delays, like a few hours of delays if they're transporting using multi-chain with Ethereum. So I've noticed that Ethereum using multi-chain is a bit slower. I guess there's maybe more verifications or whatnot, but Tether is actually really fast, like within a couple minutes, under 5-minute transfer. So definitely try out multi-chain. It's actually really easy to use. I've used it multiple times. I've used it with multiple different chains. They all work. No issues there. So yeah, it's pretty easy to get Tether onto EOS EVM, which is a rare thing that we've had for EOS. It was definitely been lacking. We haven't had Tether support for a long time, and now multi-chain really makes it much easier to kind of transport Tether onto EVM.
Beautiful, and we got Tether native as well with Binance a couple months ago. DJ Strikanova here asking a question. So can he get to Polygon from EOS native in a decentralized way using EOS EVM as intermediary? Can go from EOS native to EOS EVM and then to Polygon through multi-chain.
Yeah, you would need one extra bridge in between. So right now that's the sort of lacking piece is there is no, oh, you mean EOS itself, like EOS, the asset or Tether?
Well, whatever. Yeah. He doesn't talk about specific assets, just, a way to get some assets, I guess, to Polygon from EOS native.
Well, right now the only way to get from EOS native to EVM is the EOS asset. That's the only asset that you can bridge between. Right. So that would be the only asset that would be eligible for that. There is definitely some things in the works to try to get other assets. Like if you have other tokens on EOS native, how do you get them in onto EVM? It's just a little bit more complicated, so it wasn't in the scope of the launch. But the team does acknowledge that it is a requirement down the road.
Cool. Zack sharing a couple other, another bridge that just launched, allchainbridge.com.
Nice.
app.rubik.exchange, cross-chain swaps to EOS EVM. Very cool. All right, moving on to our next topic, potentially the most awaited topic of the day. Architects of Consensus series just published an article with Bart Wyatt. So I would love to invite Bart onto the stage, invite Brandon as well, who worked on the article. And let's hear from Bart, let's hear from Brandon, and let's hear what this article is all about.
Yeah, I guess I'll introduce. Can you guys hear me all right? I can't hear myself right now.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah, fresh Architects of Consensus, hot off the press for everybody, featuring everyone's favorite subatomic particle, Schrodinger's CTO, as we've maybe referred to him once at least. In a Telegram message, the man, the myth, the legend, Bart Wyatt. It's long. It's really long. Steph accused me of writing a novel, and I said I didn't write it. Those are Bart's words. But he has a lot to say. The man's been in crypto since there was only Bitcoin, and really got his start in the early days. So he's seen it all. He was an early contributor to the EOS code base and still one of the top contributors. Yeah, it's definitely worth a read. If you can't make it all in one go through, then break it up into sections. Hopefully we can pull some good quotes from it for you. But yeah, Bart, welcome to Fireside.
Thanks, Brandon. I kind of feel like I have some sort of a wrestling hype person following me around introducing. I didn't bring any theme music, and I do get pretty rambly when asked questions, so that's why the article is so long. But it's great to be here.
Yeah, it was all good stuff. Thanks for letting me pick your brain, and I don't know. I didn't have any particular things I wanted to steer you towards, but maybe, one of the most interesting things from the article to me, I guess, what just blew my mind is just, your early efforts with the Mastercoin protocol and stuff like that. But, that may only be interesting to me because I'm kind of a blockchain anthropologist, and I just really appreciate where all this came from. But I don't know, maybe you just want to say a few words about like what it was like in the early days and where we're at now, and I don't know, any other musings you care to share. I also have another question for you, but I'll save that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the early days were a little bit crazy. I mean, this was well before even the craziness we see now. So when Bitcoin hit 100, everyone was going crazy, and so at every milestone along the way, everyone was going crazy. You know, we had our ups and our downs. I've been through more winters than I can count at this point. More bears, more bulls. It's been kind of all over the map, but it's been a wild ride the entire time, and yeah, eventually that kind of like the pinnacle is coming to EOS, and getting a chance to all the way down to the base and build something from the beginning, and then see the reception of it. And yeah, for like many people, I stepped away from the community for a while and collected myself. I was really, really like, I don't know, not flattered is not the right word, but really excited to see that the community pulled together and has continued to build EOS, even though some of us momentarily stepped away. And it's just inspiring. It's why I'm back. So really, this is more about the community and rejoining it and picking up where I left off than anything else, really.
Well, I had a bit of, I mean, I guess people can really get perspective on the breadth of everything we cover if they just read the article. One thing that's not in the article that I've been kind of dying to ask you about, because I know Steph has been hyping this up a bit lately, is Bitcoin ordinals. Would you say that the colored coin, the work that you did with colored coins and that sort of stuff, and putting like packaging data on Bitcoin, is that kind of like precursor to a lot of the work that's being done with ordinals today? Or, I mean, are you interested in that? Or
yeah, so I looked up, I'm well versed in Bitcoin ordinals. I think there's a couple of interesting things. One, from like just a meta topic level, it is very much a resurgence of some of the stuff we were doing back in the days with Mastercoin and things like that. I think it has a couple of like really, really big things going for it, though. First of all, there's just been upgrades on Bitcoin that allow you to embed this data more effectively. Like I was working on Bitcoin before the SegWit change, so things were really clamped down, and because they were worried about exploits on the network, like the number of bits you had to work with was very small, and so we were kind of, it's like we were working with the old vacuum tube version of Bitcoin, whereas ordinals has come out in more of the supercomputer version of Bitcoin, which is really nice for it. The other thing is, one thing we didn't have, I guess, the foresight to do back in the day, that I think is really fascinating about ordinals, is that it's essentially retroactive, in that all the way back to the original minted Satoshis, mined Satoshis, I should say. Every one of them has an accompanying ordinal to it, and so that concept itself, I think, rhymed with what was going on in the NFT summer and caught a lot of attention because, out of nowhere, there were a lot of people who had wallets that suddenly had like rare and epic Satoshis in them, and like the whole that was a very novel way of like introducing the concept and building hype. And then the inscriptions that come after that then give you the ability to store content and all that. That was the icing on the cake that got it to kind of like a more modern NFT aesthetic. But just the original ordinals protocol, the fact that it had a algorithmic rarity for every Satoshi that had ever been mined and ever would be mined, I think that was a good move. I think it built a lot of hype, and like you did see people suddenly hunting for wallets that had like rare and epic and legendary Satoshi and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy idea.
Cool. We're up to 3.4 million ordinals now. the amount of ordinals has just been skyrocketing, the amount of transactions. We were trying to get our Pomelo ordinals in the sub 1 million range, but it went too fast for us, and the prices went crazy as well. Leading up to that 1 million ordinal, people were paying insane gas fees. Well, not too insane, but definitely priced us out of wanting to achieve that. Now we're up to 3 million already. But very, very, very interesting to hear your perspective. And maybe you want to share a bit about what exactly is a rare or legendary Satoshi.
So it's all based on the ordinal is literal in this case. So even when you minted or when you mined a block and it came with multiple Bitcoin, each one of those there was a formula, and it's all documented in their ordinals for like the serial numbers of every Satoshi in that block of mined coins, and then based on the serial number you could look up and they've got a schedule of translating that into a rarity such that specific Satoshis are labeled as like legendary and epic. And I think at the time this was happening there was the highest tier, there might not have even been a Satoshi issued of that tier yet, in that like it was going to come later in the issuance, but it hadn't been there yet. So like they had it mapped out all the way. It kind of reminds you of like World of Warcraft tiers or loot tiers and stuff like that. But it's all just math, and so some of them were hanging around in wallets from a decade ago that were suddenly like considered rare or uncommon, and then some were just like freshly minted things that were epic and legendary and all sorts of stuff. And so it caused a little bit of a frenzy. And plus there's frankly a lot of capital on the Bitcoin network that is bored, I would say. Like they're just looking for something to do. And so when you give them a way to play a game with their Bitcoin capital without necessarily losing it, they didn't have to trade out their Bitcoin to like find a good ordinal. They attach to it pretty highly.
Sweet. I like that board capital. That's good. I'm gonna have to think about that. I had one other thing I just wanted to touch on from the article, and then maybe we can see if anyone has any questions for Bart while we have him for a few more minutes. But one of the things that really impressed me in talking to you is just like your grasp on game theory. And specifically, you have a very, I would say, pro-social vision for what GameFi could be in blockchain that tends to, I would say, I mean, at this moment in time, seems to be, a little bit of an outlier in the grand scheme of things. And is that just me, or are we hearing some crazy feedback?
I'm muted. That was Wing. If you're trying to speak later, you can ask for a server unmute.
Cool. But yeah, I wonder, so that's where the name of the article came from, is Bart kind of gets into this more pro-social vision. So it's in search of positive sum games with Bart Wyatt. And I wonder if you just might say a few words about your kind of take on like the kernel of what you think that is, that sort of pro-social vision for blockchain. And
so I wish I had a background story here that was something to the effect of, well, I was getting my PhD at MIT and blah 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 blah. I didn't go to MIT and I don't have a PhD. The reality is I used to play a lot of couch co-op games, video games, and I used to play a lot of MMOs like World of Warcraft, and I was always attracted to, that feedback is weird. I was always attracted to support roles. I was always attracted to the roles that in the games where there were co-op, and so you couldn't really accomplish anything without a friend. And this was like formative in my earlier years. Then you get to blockchain because I did eventually go to school and become a software engineer, and I did make video games for a while, some of which were co-op. And we get to blockchain, and everything is very much motivated by the financial world, which, as much as I would like it to not be it's a zero-sum world, especially when you have things like deflationary economies and things like that. Totally understandable why everyone's brains would be locked into this idea of like zero-sum capitalism when all of the things we talk about are financially based and DeFi based. But then people started to see blockchain as an opportunity to bring games in, and I think for the most part, people forgot that there was an entirely other side of game theory, not in terms of entertainment theory, but in terms of like the literal, mathematical concept of game theory. That is not about competitive games. It's not about zero-sum games. It's about positive-sum games. It's about cooperative games. And when I look at the games that I had fun with growing up, and when I look at my formative years, those were all cooperative games. The reason I played some of these games like World of Warcraft, like EVE Online, like all these crazy MMOs was because there was a lot of people playing them, and that added to to the fun for me. Like I still to this day play games with my son. He plays a lot of Fortnite, and one of the reasons why Fortnite is successful as a game is because there's so many people playing it. It doesn't really do a whole lot to bend or expand a genre or anything like that. It's not novel in that way. It's novel because it's a party. There's a whole bunch of people there, and that creates an atmosphere of fun. And then so we're talking about putting games on a blockchain, but then it kind of like it cracked my brain open a little bit, because while games I think are shoe-in for cooperative mechanics and stuff like that, you zoom out one tier and you're also seeing all these communities. And I think especially coming back to the EOS community and seeing the growth there, like it's the same thing. Like the reason why people come to the EOS community is not necessarily because of a zero-sum thing. It doesn't have to be a tribal endeavor. It can be a more cooperative endeavor where, and really this is kind of the root of like the Web3 movement, where people are coming together and we can all collaborate and we can all combine our efforts into something greater than any one of us could have achieved. And it starts to pull away from your typical zero-sum thinking where everything has to be competitive. Like in order for EOS to succeed, we have to crush Polygon, or we have to crush Ethereum, or we have to crush Solana and stuff like that. And instead goes to a vision that I think feels better to me, which is in order for EOS to succeed, blockchain has to succeed. And in order for blockchain to succeed, even if you're wearing a Patagonia vest that says Solana on it, as opposed to a Patagonia vest that says EOS on it, like we should be working together to make sure that like more people are wearing, in this analogy, Patagonia vests that have blockchain technologies on them. Only once we fill up the entire world with, I hate to say it again, but it's become a joke now, Patagonia vests with blockchain technologies on them, like everyone's wearing one, then we can worry about like, okay, well, did I actually get my fair share of the billions of people that are now in this technology? Until we get anywhere close to that, this is definitely a cooperative game. And so that's where I'm attracted to. I'm just not a very competitive person at my core.
And to find out why, I have to read the article. Does anyone have any questions for Bart while we have? Doom, 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 doom. I don't have the whole.
I'll answer the implicit question. I'm not actually sponsored by Patagonia.
That's good. Thank you for clearing that up. Rare moment to ask Bart Wyatt your burning questions while we have him. Everyone's just stunned.
Actually, maybe we can throw back to a question that Jess asked earlier in the chat. He was asking thoughts on increased decentralization with Antelope versus EOSIO. Thought that's a kind of interesting question. Love to hear what Bart has to say about that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where is the question in the chat? Like, what would I make sure?
Oh, it was way up, but it's literally just says, I just pasted it. Thought on increased decentralization with Antelope versus old EOS. Which I think he means EOSIO. So like, are we?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Finish your thought. I think it's a long time coming, but I think we will have opportunities for that coming up. I certainly think on several levels we are more decentralized in that we are respecting the input and trying to communicate and talk with the community far more than the original part as far as like the core development staff. Like we finally have that ability to do that and really execute on that, and it's growing. Like we started from functionally 0 and we're getting better at it day by day, so it will take a while to really see the full effect of that transparency and the inflow and the outflow of information. But actually on a consensus model, I think we are, I don't know if I'm spoiling things. I know it's all being done out in the open, so people have heard that instant finality is coming, and with it is going to come some opportunities, I would say, to have that conversation in the community. There's no way that you can mandate more decentralization. That's kind of an oxymoron. So, but I do think some of these features moving from classic DPoS into the consensus model that instant finality will offer us will open the door and it should spark a conversation in the community and in the Antelope Coalition about further decentralizing some of the core parts of the protocol and things like that. And I'm really interested to see where those discussions go. That's kind of where I'll leave it, because I don't know where those discussions will go, but I think it's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be an opportunity when it comes for us to really flex the community engagement and the power of like what I see as the EOS networking community over other chains, which I won't necessarily mention by name at this point.
What are some of these possibilities that you allude to that will be available to the EOS network once instant finality is implemented?
Oh gosh, I really want to just like phone a friend and like bring Areg on stage or Lliam or someone. Okay, so I might butcher some things, but essentially there will be at a consensus level there will be multiple roles. It won't just be block producers that are available to us. Now, I think when this goes live, we will have essentially wrapped all those roles into block producers for continuity purposes. And, unless the community wants to change that in the future, it will remain that way, such that we will continue with the block producers as a concept that we have. I think at the very least, the number of block producers becomes a little more flexible, because with instant finality or with classic DPoS, the biggest concern we had about increasing the number of block producers is the latency that introduces in time to finality. It's kind of a directly related knob to turn. If you turn it up to 100 block producers, and we have a lot longer delay before something could be considered final, which is a usability problem at the very least, among other things. And I think once that's solved with instant finality, then like we do have that immediate opening of like, should we have more than 21, less than 21? Great conversation to have right at the beginning. But then going farther than that, we'll look in and see like the actual consensus model deployed can have a differentiation between someone who produces a block, proposes a block, like here's a list of transactions, here's what that state looks like, here, it's a good block, go, and the people who validate the block, who actually create the canonical chain from that. And then that's not the only distinction. There's actually more roles than that. And so as you start to break those roles out and allow different people to do it, if you decide to do that, that's another form of decentralization, where we have more people on the network empowered to and materially contributing to the security and the velocity and the capacity of the network. So I think it's a moment where we can have those conversations and see what comes next. I'm really looking forward to it, and yeah.
All right, great answer. Thank you. We got a question coming in from Drew. Does the instant finality consensus architecture do anything for remunerating people who run history solutions or API nodes?
Yeah, again, I would prefer to phone a friend out here, but the basic answer I will say is it does not by default do that. No. can that be part of this like broader discussion that opens up? Yes. But will that be a natural consequence of the instant finality as it's deployed right now? No.
All right, we got another question from Jest, just a bit higher in the chat if you want to go read it as well. In proof of stake, resolution of conflict requires a robust governance model, and governance includes morality. Game theory includes bargaining, which is linked to morality. How do you see game theory being leveraged to ensure a minimum level of decentralization in consensus networks?
Which friend are you going to phone now, Bart?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna phone that hypothetical Bart that went to MIT and got a PhD in this stuff. By the way, that was not me. Like the whole joke there was that I didn't get a PhD in this. That's a very tough question to answer with any kind of brevity or. Here's the one thing I will say though. I think what we have. What EOS has shown me, and I'll say this from my own personal experience, is that the community itself provides call it a hedge, a safety net, something against us being incorrect in the game theoretical model. So, game theory almost has to have you believe the worst in people. Same with like, economic theory and stuff like that, where it's like, it assumes everyone's a rational actor when in fact none of us are. We're all irrational actors. In aggregate, maybe we average out to like someone rational. I don't know. And so I don't know. All I will say is like, I think we have a little bit of padding here to experiment, make mistakes, and get it right over time. So I think game theory will play a role. I just don't think that game theory is going to result in something of a hard scientific answer here. Because of the people involved, it's always based on probabilities. We're always going to learn something new about the behaviors on the network. So my faith that this network will continue to grow and improve is based more on the people and maybe what I would say the lack of a shared morality, the diversity of morality there that keeps people in check while we discover where we can kind of codify game theory to make it easier to rely on, easier to not have to rely on the good graces of the community, if that makes sense.
All right, thanks, Bart. Okay, final call. Just got a couple more minutes here with Bart. If someone wants to ask a question, now's the time to do it. And then we're gonna move on to inviting Robrigo on the stage to talk about his project's development.
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Is there any feedback on my side?
No, you sound clear as a bell.
Okay, great. Wow, what a jam-packed fireside. It's been very informative. Thank you, Yves, for talking about open source, and Zack for providing the EVM stats, and Bart for all of the amazing insight into the theoretical side. Definitely learning a lot today. Yeah, so I'm building facings. Stephane mentioned it earlier for those that aren't aware of what we're doing. We are building an NFT collection management platform that works on all the antelope blockchains. We've completed one direct grant proposal with the ENF, which really allowed us to get our foundational app out. We just last week had our second proposal approved, so that's amazing. Thanks, everybody. So we're fully approved and have submitted milestone 1 for review, which is our plugin framework MVP. This allows you to include collection level plugins, which can enhance the features available to basically for collection owners to interact with their collection. So we'll be delivering a lot of features through this mode. Some of the other things we're working on for Proposal 2 are a data import tool, which will allow you to take structured data and bulk run various actions to kind of create and interact with the collection. So you could, theoretically prepare a collection on testnet and then export that out and import it on the mainnet and have all the same state. We'll be delivering a simple airdrop plugin as well, just to make it easy to sort of filter and select how to distribute NFTs, really a distribution tool. Beyond that, we've been doing a lot of other improvements, just bug fixing and various things we see on the creator. We've done a lot of UX improvements, providing more information on the app. We've added a docs link that links to some different documentation for people who want to create their own collections and aren't sure what everything means, as well as other developers who want to fork the collection manager, which is the open source code. We call it the creator, which is our instance of the app that we're hosting at creator.facings.io. So we're looking for feedback on that. We've actually got a survey in the blog we just published today that we'd ask anyone who's interested in submitting feedback on the app in its current state. And we'll enter you into a drawing to receive some NFTs we've published in the past. So some of the other things we're working on an embeddable sales widget that allows you to sell your NFTs with credit cards. So this will enable easier onboarding because someone who doesn't have an EOS account could sort of also pay to create their account as they make their first purchase for whatever NFT they're interested in buying. And feature parity. So we've done a lot of pilot collections, all on the WAX blockchain at this time. So a lot of those, we've just prototyped features, various gamification elements like pack opening and crafting, redeemables, just various functionality, leaderboards. So we're working on getting all of those into the creator as well, so that they're actually usable for everybody. And that'll come after the sales widget. We've retired all of our pilot sales for the most part, so we're just kind of winding down those experiments. We left the sales going much longer than a typical NFT experiment because we were collecting live data so we can learn and roll all those pieces back into the platform. And yeah, it's getting closer to the MVP, which we're aiming to get out this year. We'll be pursuing a seed round and raising money and expanding the team, ideally. So at the moment, we've just been earning from the grants framework. So that's really been a huge opportunity and has frankly kept us alive. So very appreciative to build with EOS. That's been the dream since we launched it. So it's cool to see that path forward. And yeah, lots going on. So we're also working on a few different deals in the back end. Capital's tighter nowadays, so everyone's looking to find the money to sort of bootstrap their initial platforms or build outs. So hopefully we'll also have some exciting deals land, but that's just the nature of business. So yeah, any questions?
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for coming on the Fireside, and congrats on getting your Stage 2 grant approved. That's great to hear. I was definitely, my ears perked up a couple times while we were talking there about some cool features I'm looking forward to. You said you're integrating the ability to buy NFTs with credit cards. That's something that we've played around with a bit, or Denis played around with our Pomelo NFTs. We were trying to sell them through Shopify, so there was a way to buy with the credit card, but that got shut down eventually by Shopify. So yeah, I'm just wondering how if you can share more details about that integration and how that's going to work.
Yeah, totally. So we're working with various payment processors. So the goal now is to have a few different payment processors just in case we run into problems like you're describing, getting shut down. We've actually just recently experienced that. So we've been terminated with a payment processor. Checkout.com, not for regulatory reasons, but just because we barely had any volume because we were just experimenting and they're like an enterprise level solution. But that's actually a good thing because now we're coming up with this redundancy solution and we've got a couple different payment processors we're approved with that we're fully explaining the business model to and essentially integrating their APIs into our sales and inventory backend. So, we've got the logic on our side that handles the inventory and makes sure, NFTs only get distributed if someone buys them and, goes through the whole payment authorization and security flow and fraud mitigation and all of those types of things. And we're just hooking into these various payment processors. So the goal is to have at least 2 to 3 going forward and, they didn't unplug us yet. It was just kind of just like wake up and all of a sudden Bittrex is dead one day and our payment processor the next. And it's like, okay, we need some redundancy now. So we're working on opening a couple new exchange accounts too. We've got one already. So we've got at least backups now. And going forward, we'll be, making sure we have a lot of options there and they all play nicely with our backend.
Yeah, redundant payment rails, definitely a common theme, I'm sure, within a lot of crypto companies. It sure is at EOS Nation as well. The other feature you mentioned...
What was that comment he made about Bittrex? Or was that just a made-up example?
Just a made-up example. One day you wake up and your rails are gone.
Yeah, Bittrex abruptly, at I think around the end of March or early April, said we're closing all business to U.S. customers specifically. So Bittrex, the original, not Bittrex Global, which is still open, got closed, and then the SEC later published something where they're going after the founder. So that explained why they took such abrupt action. But unlike the block producer, which does have quite a few different exchanges that we've opened up over time, Facings only had one to start because we were using our tried and true, and then we were like, oh, time to go open a Kraken account, I guess, and find a few others. So that's what we did.
Got it. No, it just, my ears perked up because we have a team called Fun Day that we're working with for some branding stuff, and they had a dinner at Consensus, and the Bittrex CEO was at Patty's table, and then one of their lobbyists was at my table, and got to hear the perspective from their side, and it was much different than what I've read in the news and things like that. So I was just curious, and I knew about the U.S. citizen thing, so that was the other thing that perked up, is how are you working with Bittrex, but you clarified.
I don't have a personal relationship like that, so I wouldn't want to speculate on all of it. Just kind of, those are the signals I saw. But yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder, maybe we'll have to grab a beverage sometime.
Seriously, Zach, you're just going to tease us like that and not share more information? Damn.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Okay, back to NFTs. You talked about redeemables as well. And I imagine this means like redeeming NFTs for physical objects. Is that what you mean? Or like redeeming NFTs for EOS airdrops, for example?
Yeah, physical objects is the focus. it's, there's ways you can scale up that flow. We've got more of a prototypical flow at the moment, but we have launched a few redeemables on Wax where you can redeem to get, a piece of art or a piece of clothing. Like, there was some shoes. So yeah, a number of different redeemables like that. But yeah, I'd say that's one of the more exciting use cases for NFTs, in my opinion, is linking physical objects to digital ones and then allowing the digital representation to be traded around and exchanged and then redeemed on demand, which, introduces a lot of fulfillment, logistical, and sort of liability questions. So when you see this, you usually see this done in a time-bound manner nowadays, where you can only redeem for, the next 6 months, and then the redemption's cut off, and then the NFTs drop down. But yeah, some of the projects we're working on would like to turn, various commodities into digital representations and allow those to be traded around and then owned digitally and stored digitally, but redeemed on demand. So hopefully some of that will get off the ground because it's very exciting stuff. But yeah, beyond that, we just want to make sure we have a solution together to provide that functionality for the publishers. And, there's still ways to do it, even if we don't have a partner kind of owning the project. There's ways we could set up the fulfillment, if you will.
Yeah, we've been playing around with that idea for one of our projects, and kind of best solution I found is just kind of a manual process at this moment. So that's why I was very interested to see what kind of solutions you guys were bringing to the redeemable space.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to do it. That's how we've done them all today, just based on the current scale of things. But you can integrate with a third-party logistics provider and scale up the feature that way too. So, basically just building out the flows to manage the collection owner needing to ship their stuff to a place, and then that place holds it, and all of the kind of costs are baked in. But yeah, that's kind of one way I've envisioned doing that, just to allow someone to come along and in more, a creator that doesn't have all of the custom software support and things like that they might need, can take and use that feature right out of the box.
Good stuff. Yeah, looking forward to learning more and seeing more that being built out. Anyone else have any questions for Robrigo while we have him here before we wrap up the show in just a little bit? I see Jess typing away in the chat. Jess definitely been the MVP chat participant for this fireside. You can give a nice little air horn for Jess for that great participation. Unmute. Lovejoy wants to jump back in the conversation. There you go, Lovejoy. You've been given permission to talk once more.
Woohoo! All right. Well, I was going to ask, besides redeemables, is there anything else you're particularly excited about in the NFT space, and like with what you're building, other potential applications? And yeah, it's kind of wide open, but you have a bird's eye view of kind of what's possible with the product. So
Yeah, thanks, Lovejoy. Definitely. I mean, the no-brainer is game items, especially given efficient protocols with resource models that are easier to abstract. Like EOS, you can scale up various interactions with games. So I think there's a lot of market education that still needs to be done, because mainstream gamers seem to dislike NFTs. They think it's a new form of DLC. They don't fully understand the capabilities yet. So that's part of the hurdle, but that's a huge one for sure. And that's great, because then game players can earn stored value over time and really own that. Bart mentioned MMOs. I played some of those. There's always the potential that you could invest all this time and energy and even purchase items in those MMO worlds and then have your account banned. Well, NFTs make that not possible, as far as if a lot of your most valuable things are there. So that's a massive industry. Definitely more entertainment focused, but there's a lot of value there. It's going to be over $250 billion in the next few years. And, changing that dynamic might be hard, especially at the top of the industry, but just making sure that the education, the outreach, and the tooling is there, so you can try to steward it in a direction that will build value for people, and eventually unlock a lot of value for the game companies that launched the games too. Collectibles have always been interesting. We actually did do a Garbage Pail Kid launch with Topps on Wax kind of earlier on, which is very fun. And most of the launches over there would have been collectibles. Lars Kaminishu Spates, photography is another one we launched. And so we've done a lot of collectibles in the pack opening and various things like that, which are all definitely good use cases to provide as well, just to create more gamification. Crafting as well, which is again ties into the games, because there's a lot of combining things into a thing in these games. So you can do that and represent that at the NFT level. Triggers, making sure that you've got a solid API that the game can use to trigger either mutable data updates on the NFTs themselves. So you can, and that's not just useful for games, that's useful for anyone who wants to transform an NFT. So then what can you do if you can transform an NFT based on various inputs, tons. So just making the tools over that will unlock a lot of creativity that I'm sure I can't even imagine right now if we do it right. That's really the goal. And to create a developer ecosystem around that. Similar to what Yves was hitting on earlier. One of the other things we did was just put out some various issues on the GitHub side. So the way we've been developing, we use GitLab for our engineering. So GitLab, there's various ways you can sync it to GitHub, but we also use it for our deployment. So when we want to promote code to the live site or the test site. And whereas, the majority of the ecosystem around Antelope is on GitHub. So we have this sort of thing where we have a lot of things we're working on in our own environment, which is, a closed organization on GitLab. But we want to mirror a lot of that over into GitHub and populate that. And so I guess what I'm hitting on is the way GitLab's billing works, we're annual, so we can't even really stop, or we lose value if we switched before that's up. But we're considering it just to allow more synchronicity and unlocking more community development around the collection manager and plugin development, so people can add in their own features and inform us on how to make that better. And actually, DJ Strikanova here, he's working on a plugin, and we're going to start that process soon. So, but yeah, what we did was populate some issues that the community could work on, just known things, into the GitHub side, which is the public side, under github.com/facings. So we're working on strategies to sort of bridge that gap, even though our tools have some shortcomings, and we should be able to automate that pretty easily. So it's on our roadmap to automatically push more information over about the collection manager from our GitLab. Yeah, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but I did want to call out those community issues because anyone looking to get involved, we'd love to talk to you, chat more, help you develop plugins, and just support you.
Cool. Yeah, no, good tangent. Thanks for that. It was good, informative. I have one quick follow-on question, unless anyone else wants to jump in. All right, I'll go for it. With the introduction of the EOS EVM, I'm wondering if you have any perspective on sort of bridging NFTs and how that might, be a thing, or could be a thing between the EOS and Ethereum ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a ton of opportunity there to map atomic assets into the standards that are being used in the EOS EVM, which I assume would be ERC 721 and ERC 1155, if you were just to take the current standards and bring them in. Yeah, I've thought about that a bit. I think that there could be some plugin ideas there too. It's definitely just to allow someone to click a button and convert. I want to be on the EOS EVM side, or I want to be on the atomic asset side and have it work cleanly. Yeah, that's something I'd like to see done. I think that should be done. And of course, enabling the EOS EVM NFTs to have as much features as possible based on what the standard's capable of. So kind of, melding that in. And, I'd like to see marketplaces that show both as well. I'm not 100% sure on the current NFT ecosystem in the EOS EVM specifically yet, but it's something I'm very curious about. If anyone knows more about efforts being done there.
Oh, thanks. Also curious.
All right. Thanks, Robrigo, for joining us. Last call for questions for Robrigo before we move on to our final topic of the day.
Thanks for having me, Stephane.
Awesome. Thanks for joining in here. Impromptu. Love to see it. And you're welcome back anytime, of course.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. Moving on to our next topic, talking about ZEOS updates. I'm going to keep this actually pretty short. I'm trying to get someone from the ZEOS team or community to join us and to talk more about this project and updates, as I'm not the most knowledgeable. But there was a recent decision recently done by the ZEOS team. They're going to be moving away from leveraging the DApp network for their privacy solution. So that's going to imply that they rebuild some of the system that they've been building, and they're now aiming for a launch that will be timed with Antelope 5.0. So there's some features in Antelope 5.0 which enables BLS primitives, and that update is required for the ZEOS protocol to work. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. There's a 1 hour long video that was recently published that I can certainly share with everyone here. as well as some recent conversations in their ZEOS chat. I'm going to share as well for those of you who want to jump in there. But hopefully next week we can have someone from ZEOS on the far side to talk to us about these different updates and progress going on with the ZEOS on EOS. All right, community open mic section. If anyone has comments, questions, they want to share updates about your projects, now's the time to do it. Off-topic banter as well. We had a 25 basis points hike rate today from the Fed. Doesn't seem like, actually seems like the crypto markets are liking it. Haven't noticed, but last 15, 30 minutes, Bitcoin's moving up to 29,000. Seems like the crypto markets like the 25 basis points rate hike today and not a 50-point hike. So yeah, open mic, join in, say hi. All right, well, I guess we're going to wrap it up here. Almost 2.5 hours of fireside chat action. Didn't have that many topics today, but they were definitely healthy topics with some great guests. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for our great guests for joining us as well. And hope you guys have a good week. And until next time, let's go EOS!
Go EOS!